Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of not Subway to Shea podcast, but the Rip N Riff on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel. Shout out!
I mean, we could talk Mets. I could talk Mets for about 45 minutes.
All right. Well, you know what? Sorry, Ant. It's our show today. Nonetheless, at Rip N Riff here on the YouTube channel. I am at Pumpkin Thoughts. Adam Bernard over there is at Mr. Jared Moore. We are very much a football and hockey show, and based around ripping packs of cards here on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel. We got a lot to. It's going to be an all football day. I'm very excited about that. That's a nice one. We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, we haven't, but you know what? It's that time of year, right? It's December. The weather's it's starting to finally feel like football weather. I mean, you kind of saw that yesterday with the Bengals and the Bills game, with them playing in the snow out there in Western New York, and it's nice, and there's nice chill in the air. Like you're obviously not here, so you can't smell it. Like we got like a nice like beef stew like working right now in the slow cooker. It's just that time of year.
Stew is the best of the cold weather foods, like, because it just incorporates everything you need. Like, you do feel warmed up after eating it. Like, it accomplishes its task. You're full. It's nothing you want to eat in the summer. Like July 12th, I want nothing to do with a stew.
Right.
December 8th, bet. Let's go.
You actually feel like you're eating healthy because there are some vegetables in it, like carrots and stuff like that. So like,
and it's a bowl meal. It's at less dishes that way. It's just all around. It's a good meal. Nonetheless, though, it's that time of the year. I mean, it's chilly by where I live standards, more so than normal. So definitely in the winter spirit there. And of course, we're entering week 15 of the NFL season. College football brackets came out.
Where does the time go?
Where does that time go? I mean, the Jets have been out of it 15 straight years, no playoffs. We don't have to, dive too deeply into that. Plenty of other things to get into. Also, some snow in Cleveland yesterday during the Titans game, so that was cool. But let's get down the brass tacks here. What are we gonna rip open today? So I brought a couple of packs from the 90s here because the Toy Wiz order came. So was excited to get into that. I got some 94 Topps football series too. Could get a Marshall Faulk rookie, even a Tony Meola rookie here from when he was a kicker in the NFL, Jared. So it's a wide range from Hall of Fame to a converted soccer star.
The Tony Meola card would be very interesting because of, obviously his background. It's like, wait, Tony Meola, oh yeah, that's right. He did like briefly kick in the NFL. So, yeah, I could see that. I've done these cards on the show before, the Panini totally certified cards, and we're ripping through the rest of that box today, and you see all the rookies on the screen there from the 2024 class. The good news is, like last week, we pulled like the Caleb Williams, we pulled the Jaden Daniels, and we actually got some big time rookies in that class. So maybe we'll go 2 for 2 and finish the job today.
And then also that 96 upper deck. It wasn't like a good rookie series, but really nice looking cards there. Die cuts, things like that. So looking for that out of that pack there. So Toy Wiz a good job with that. But the thing we didn't actually figure out is who's going to do the leadoff pack today. We didn't figure that out for the show.
No, we didn't. So how do you want to do this? You want to go?
I'd like to. I got these fresh packs here, but
yeah, I mean, I feel like it's always better when we go modern though and work our way backwards. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, that's how we do it usually. But I was really thinking. I mean, like I said, these just came in the mail. I'm excited. I've been waiting. I want to open them up.
So I don't know. You're more than welcome to do that, but you're gonna do that. I'm just gonna take my ball and go home. I'm gonna shut the camera off. You can do the show by yourself.
I mean, all right. Well, in that case, fooled you. Jared played the role of Notre Dame, and a good job by you.
I did, yes, which is going to make this forthcoming Rip and Rant even more embarrassing on my part. But we actually kind of called an audible. You were going to pull the Notre Dame there, but I kind of decided to do on the fly.
Oh yeah, that's and that was the thing. Like that's a good part of improv. You have to be able to adapt on the fly. Because I picked up on that, and then I was like, all right, well, I have to be, okay, no, that's fine. Either way, it works. But nonetheless, yes, and I understand everybody's kind of saying the same thing about Notre. But I know there's like a laundry list of other schools that were like, yeah, we're not going to do the non-playoff games either. But yeah, it seemed it was such a knee jerk. It happened so quick reaction that it's like, wow, sour grapes much? Like, come on, man.
Right, and like look, I want to preface this entire rant or whatever you want to call it by saying like Notre Dame should have gotten in. They should have gotten in over Alabama. I thought it was embarrassing that they took a 3-loss Alabama team that got blown out in the conference championship game. But that said, they didn't do it. And when you carry yourself with like the arrogance and the sense of entitlement that a program like Notre Dame carries themselves with typically, I'm sorry, but nobody's going to feel bad for you that you got hosed. Like the committee, yeah, they took like the weirdest route to get there by having Notre Dame ahead of Miami the entire time. I don't know why they waited until the last minute to get it right, but ultimately they got it right in the one ranking that counts. So I can't listen to their AD call the process a farce after the fact. It's like, buddy, Notre Dame, you had a seat at the table when when they came up with the rules for all this. Like you agreed to this, so this would be like we play in fantasy leagues together. This would be like if I bitched about not making the playoffs because of a tiebreaker, and it's like, yeah, it sucks, but like. Also, like I know the rules going in, like I agreed to this, so like it's not like I didn't have opportunities to win other games somewhere along the way.
You know what it is too, and it's like going all the way back to the BCS. Notre Dame always gets special treatment. It's like all the rules and stipulations say, okay, so X amount from this conference, blah 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 blah, and if Notre Dame has X amount of rank or seat, you know what I mean? Like there's always been stipulations for Notre Dame, and now. For once, that wasn't enough to, get them, the cachet of Notre Dame wasn't enough to get them into a 12-team playoff. And it's like, now it's like, oh, it's like, and one of the things we had mentioned offline is like, you can be part of a conference too and get that guaranteed spot and then just play your way in like every other, like the other seeds have to do. So it's just like, I understand you're Notre Dame, you're special. You have the movie Rudy, you have Touchdown Jesus, South Bend, Stadium, all that stuff. Like I get the mystique and all that, but it's like you're not like you don't have to. You're not exclusively televised on Channel 4. And the being exclusively televised on NBC is not a big deal anymore because every college football game is on from sometimes an 11:30 a.m. Eastern kickoff all the way to if the Hawaii home game is televised 11 o'clock at night. So it's not that big a deal. Like when Notre Dame had that deal with NBC in the 90s and early 2000s, before we started to get more viewing options and ways to watch more at the same time. Yeah, sure, fine. You're Notre Dame. Yeah, it's not like that anymore. So like, accept it. Accept reality. Join a conference.
Right, and it's funny you mentioned the conference. Like the ironic thing with Notre Dame is like, yeah, they value their independence above all else, but like. If they were in a conference, they'd probably be in the playoff because, like, they probably would have been in the ACC. They probably would have been in that ACC title game instead of Duke or Virginia.
Duke, Virginia. I mean, geez, two terrible teams. Like,
right. And if they're in that game, they win that game by 20 points and they make the playoffs. We're not even having this conversation. Or maybe they're in the Big Ten instead. I don't know. Their AD seems to be on a warpath right now of just like torching every relationship with any major conference out there. Like, saying like, oh, how could the ACC do this? And it's like, how could the ACC do what? Support one of their members in Miami to make the playoff over you? You're only a partial member in the ACC. You're not a member in football. Like you're a member in basketball and all the other sports, but you're not a member in football. So look, what this ultimately comes down to is they've always gotten special treatment at Notre Dame, hence their TV deal, the fact they've been allowed to be independent as long as they have. And the one time something doesn't go their way,
I think this is
they're like a 10-year-old child. They took their ball, they went home, and they're crying and bitching and screaming the entire way. And I guess Notre Dame is too good to play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. That somehow that's beneath you. So,
and listen,
I don't know. Maybe next time, don't lose to Miami. You'll be playing a first-round playoff matchup.
And I get it. The bowls aren't what they used to be. Like the random bowls that start December 18th and are on a Tuesday night on ESPN2. Or the Idaho Spuds Bowl, things like that. Like, I get it. Like, it's probably better for the program in this day and age to start focusing because of the transfer portal and all that stuff. To just like, yeah, like we got to hit the ground running here and get a jump on teams that we could get a jump on. But like that's the other thing too. Like we all kind of knew it valued. Like those bowl games didn't mean anything, and like now this just like that's the nail in the coffin. Like you're gonna because now you're gonna see sponsors not wanting to spend as much as putting their names on the games. And it's going to have a domino effect where the bowls may just go away and it might whittle down. And yeah, I know people said for years, oh, they don't need so many, but like there is something cool about throwing on a meaningless holiday bowl. And I say meaningless, but I mean, it's still a game that counts. It's a chance for these kids that are graduating or going in the draft to like showcase that. And I get like not everybody plays now because of the transfer. It's just all messed up because of the transfer portal. And like that's why with college, I'm like mostly checked out.
And I get if you're like a big time NFL prospect, you're probably not playing in a meaningless bowl game anyways. But most of these kids, I hate to use the cliche, but like most of these kids aren't going to the NFL. Like most of them are, as soon as their college career ends, they're getting a 9-to-5 job like everybody else. So, I'm sure, Notre Dame said, they decided as a team or whatever, but I'm sure there's people like on that Notre Dame team that like they didn't realize they had already played their last college football game.
And that,
they thought they were going to get one more game, one more opportunity to go out there and like put an exclamation point on their career. And like I kind of feel bad for those kids because now they're not going to get the chance to do it.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like I used to like college football was never my top sport, but there was a period where I was crazy into it, as much as all the others. But it's just again, and not to sound like an old man, an old fuddy duddy, but it's just like it's tough enough to keep track of the movement of a league of 32 teams, where it's like a set number of players, much lower than in college. Now you have the transfer portal. You have what 100 and something programs. It's to me, like the fact that people could just bounce every year. Yeah, I can't. Like it's just
a bit
tough.
much. Yeah.
So there we go. I mean, at least in college basketball, you kind of got warmed up to that because of the whole one and done thing, which is not something that was done in football because it's much tougher to do that kind of thing in football than it is for basketball to prove yourself for a year and then go out. But yeah, it's, to me, it's I'm still more of a pro sports guy than anything else. I do like college hockey though. College hockey is fun to watch. Frozen Four, one of my favorite sporting events of the year.
I will say you mentioned the bowl system, and I do agree with you that like the bowl system's going to die a slow death here. I don't know how that's going to play out. Obviously, with the college football playoff, what they're probably going to wind up doing is they're probably going to expand the college playoff to like 16 teams or something. They're going to expand it even more, even though it really doesn't need. You don't need 12 teams in this thing. Like I'm sorry, like Ole Miss is not winning a title this year. Like we don't need to waste our time with that. But
what's going to happen is that's going to be the death of the bowls because as it expands, you go okay. So let's say you go to 16 teams. So now you're adding what? Well, if
they're just going to incorporate those bowls into it,
and the ones that are on the low end of the list are the ones that slowly but surely those will go away. So like, yeah, that's what it'll end up being. And then it'll just be that's, at some point they'll figure out a way to go to 20 and like, okay, with buys and stuff like that. 24, it's every few years, it's just going to get bigger and bigger because there's always going to be somebody that's like, oh, well, we should have been in when it's like, okay, your team 17 out of 16. How far are we going to stretch this thing out? How long?
And it's not college basketball where you have like the small schools, you have the Cinderellas that could actually win a game, let alone like actually make a run like a George Mason or whoever. You're not getting that in college football. There's no scenario where James Madison or Tulane goes on a run here in the playoff. They're both going to be one and done. They're both probably going to lose by 30 points in their first matchup. And like, I'm all for the small schools getting a shot, but ultimately those games are going to be a giant waste of time.
The other thing too is just from like, a toll on the body. Like you can play basketball in back-to-back days in a tournament when you're 20 years old. Like even though in college, like you after playing football, you need a couple. It's tough to do. Like the bigger you expand, like okay, we're going to start this two Saturdays before Thanksgiving because like you have to have time to do everything too. So nonetheless, a lot of college football talk there. Let's get down to brass tacks though in the NFL here and the actual leadoff pack today. All right, so week 14 in the NFL, almost in the books. We still got Monday Night Football with the Eagles and the Chargers. Last week of buys was the Niners, Patriots, Giants, and I forget who the fourth.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, right? Buys are done. Week 15, we're back to a full slate here. Got a lot of good games this week for when we run through picks later. So looking forward.
Carolina was the last team on a buy.
There we go. Good job. I can count on you.
Well, I mean, when you're talking to relevant NFL franchises, it doesn't get much more relevant than the Carolina Panthers,
who might win the division. It's they play the Buccaneers 2 out of the last 3 or 4 games. So yeah, it's Carolina could steal that division. Tampa has not looked good.
They could also steal that Saturday 4-15 playoff spot from the clutches of the AFC South.
You might be onto something there, because if Carolina's got a home playoff game and Houston ends up getting the division somehow from Jacksonville, or you get a Houston-Jacksonville wild card. Forget if it's Houston-Jacksonville, lock that in as the kicker. Doesn't matter who Carolina is at that point.
But I'd much rather watch Houston in like prime time against any of these teams, just because like I'd rather watch their defense. We don't have to get that far.
I love watching a good defense. I know Point, Chick dig the long ball, the home run in baseball, like that. But like in football, I love when a defense just goes out and like 3 and out, like you're not doing anything against us today. Sorry, occasional sack. I love that.
Sorry,
the Jets used to have a defense like that many years ago, but not anymore.
All right, we start with a team that just got back into the win column this week with a rookie card here, Terrion Arnold and the Detroit Lions. Very nice win on Thursday night against the Cowboys to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yes, and I've mentioned this. I don't know if I've mentioned it on here, but I think that week 18 game, Detroit Chicago is going to be for the final spot in the NFC. It's going to be for the 7 wild card spot. That's what I think is going to happen.
Oh my God, my kingdom for the Lions beating the Bears to knock the Bears out of the playoffs
on Sunday Night Football. Maybe some flurries in the air.
Oh baby, I can't wait.
That's one of those where it's like I get paid to work right now and have this on for great.
I don't know if I've said this to you on air before. I feel like there's so many fraudulent teams in the NFL, but it's also gotten to the point where like there's so many teams that I think are fraudulent. Like eventually somebody has to be good. Like they can't all be fraudulent.
I'm off that train. I think the Bears, even if they somehow missed the playoffs because of some tiebreaker scenario, they could go 11-6 and miss the playoffs. I will say this. I'm off the Bears a fraudulent train. Even if they're not ready right now, they are very much heading in the right direction. Going into Green Bay yesterday, and they could have gone in the tank at halftime, and they came back out, and they made Green Bay sweat all the way to the end. So,
yeah. Well, a team that's not heading the right direction, you have James Conner here in the Arizona Cardinals. It's not Conner's fault. He's out for the year, but yeah, it looks like the Cardinals are very much playing out the string here.
Now, Murray's gone, but you get rid of Gannon? Do you just blow the whole thing up and be like, we're starting this over again?
I feel like Gannon actually might be a decent head coach, even though I don't really have a body of evidence to sort of prove it. I kind of want to give him a shot with his own quarterback before
fair point.
I pull the plug. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Even though he's not an offensive coach, he's a defensive mind. But we have Kyle Hamilton here with the Baltimore Ravens. Tough loss for them yesterday against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, that division now. The Steelers are basically in the driver's seat, and they have the Ravens at home week 18. So if
the Steelers are right on pace to get another winning season under Tomlin.
4 seed, 9-8. Sign them up. Because they got like Miami, they've got the Lions. They probably won't win that game. Then they go to Cleveland. That's going to be in week 17. That's going to be the game to decide whether that week 18 game matters. Because the Browns, with their defense, with the way Shador's been playing, they could keep that game close against Pittsburgh, especially in Cleveland.
Yeah. Let's see. And last but not least, we already mentioned the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers here, obviously with the Jets. And classic Jets no-show yesterday at home against the Dolphins in December. But hey, at least the Jets are back on track. And you don't want to do too much winning. You don't want to make a habit out of it in a lost season.
I mean, would you get up for a game where you had to put those gray, weak, terrible uniforms on? Like,
I will be completely honest with you. I watched 0 minutes, 0 seconds of that game.
Like the number font, like just everything about those. They're not as bad as the Pittsburgh Steelers prisoner outfit jerseys with stripes. Like nothing's that bad,
but they're not good.
This is starting to be in the ballpark of that.
Yeah.
And no.
All right. Pack number 2. We only got 4 cards per pack for these cards, so we can go through these all fairly quickly. And we start with another rookie card here of Javon Bulliard with the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, they picked up that big win.
He had a big
in the late window against the Bears.
The Bullard's a good. The Packers aren't frauds. I don't know how deep in the playoffs they'll go, but they're a team that's capable of beating the Rams in Los Angeles. But it wouldn't surprise me if they've already lost to the Panthers this year. So like they could go both ways. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how that NFC North shakes out. But I'd say of the 3 teams, they're the ones I trust the most. Barely, I guess.
In the NFC North,
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I think I trust them a little more than both the Lions and the Bears.
So, but, I mean, you got the Bears, Packers playing again in 2 weeks. The
But
Lions and the
I
Bears.
also don't trust the Packers compared to the Rams or the Eagles.
Correct. To me, it's still the Rams are the team coming out of the NFC. I'm on that. That's my thing, and it's tough for me to go against it right now.
It's fine with me. Anyone but Philly, as far as I'm concerned. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers probably will not be coming out of the NFC this year. Rashad White here with the Buccos.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, they play the Panthers 2 out of the last 3 games, so that's what the division's coming down to.
Right. George Kittle here with the Niners. I guess the Niners will have something to say about the NFC as well. We'll see if they ultimately can go on a run here. Now they're getting a little healthier with Purdy back.
There's a scenario they could finish as the 1 seed. If the Seahawks beat the Rams in Thursday Night Football in a couple weeks and the Niners win out, when you look at their schedule, other than that Seattle game, which is at home week 18, they could easily run the table all their remaining games going into that. So the Niners are not yet out of the division or the conference yet.
Right. And last player of this pack, interesting player. So we get Trevor Lawrence here with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's a nice card.
Jaguars in the they're very much in that very much alive in the AFC South, and
it's their division.
I don't want to go and say that Trevor Lawrence has arrived, because I feel like every time we go and do that, like Trevor Lawrence will go out and throw like 3 picks in a game, but like I feel like I don't know. I feel like they're good. The Jaguars are good.
So listen, the Jaguars may not go far in the playoffs this year, but they've established, like, going into next season, like, there's going to be a Jaguars Texans game televised on Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football. Like, that's going to be a marquee because both teams are good. So, I mean, the Jaguars are in the driver's seat for the division now. When you look at the remaining schedule, they have, what do they got? Tennessee, the Jets. They have the Colts again, which without whoever's going to be a quarterback, that's a huge advantage there. So, I forget who their other game is against. They have one other opponent off the top of my head. I can't remember.
Well, the games you just gave me there, they could win out. They could win all those games.
Absolutely.
So, all right, we got one more pack. We got a thick boy in this pack, so this will be interesting. But we start with a franchise foundation card here for CJ Stroud. Obviously, he is back, and a good win for the Texans last night on Sunday Night Football, and kind of a I don't want to say it's over for the Chiefs, but like it's very much I don't think it's happening.
They need to win out. They have to. They have to win out.
I don't think it's. I don't think it's happening. They're 6-7 now. Like I feel like at this point of the season, you kind of are what you are. They just look old and slow, and they look like they don't have nearly as much talent as these have.
You know what? I'm going to be curious, and I don't like watch or listen to the New Heights podcast, but it's great when things are going well and you're going to the Super Bowl and you're dating one of the biggest people on the planet. It's very easy to have things the minor things roll off your back, be jolly, jovial, and a good mood all the time and stuff like that. Like, Chiefs are falling apart before our eyes. Probably going to miss the playoffs this year. I'm curious to see how the vibe of that podcast, if it changes at all, because like for the first time, the Chiefs are mediocre. They're not the class of the league anymore. They probably aren't going to the playoffs. I'm not counting them out yet, because if they win out, they still have the Chargers this week. They got if they win out, I think can get in. So
right.
And if any team is capable of digging deep and just figuring it out, starting this week, they got the Chargers at home. Gotta have it. Have to have it. You lose that game, your season's over.
So I don't think they're winning that game. They've already lost to the Chargers once this year. I don't know. I guess we'll see how Herbert looks. I mean, he's probably going to play tonight, even though he just had the surgery on his non-throwing hands. So I guess we'll see.
Short week. You're going to be outside. Could be cold in Kansas City. That's going to be a big one right there. So
I'll say this about the Chiefs, and I like I like the Kelceys. I like Travis a little more than Jason, just from me being a Giants fan. But he's got a lot of stuff going on outside of football, and has for a while. And obviously, a lot of that comes with him, now engaged to like the biggest pop star in the world, and as much travel as he was doing when she was on tour. And like, I'm not criticizing him for any of that. Like the guy's clearly in love, and like he's supporting his soon to be wife, and like that's cool. And like
And it's the off season.
yeah, it's the off season. I think obviously they should support that, but like he's also 36 years old. Like
Plays a heavy
players
game.
decline, and like he's clearly not the same player that like he used to be, and like it just might be the end of the road for him in terms of being like a all pro bowl type tight end. Like I players generally don't get better as they enter their late 30s, and like I don't think Travis Kelce is going to be the exception to that. So like he's gonna have to have a long conversation, this offseason, probably in the mirror, but I'm sure he's gonna have it with Taylor as well, where it's like, do I want to keep doing this, or do I just want to kind of call it a career? And you can make a lot of money doing that podcast and not be taking all this physical
Correct.
contact, and like.
And it'll be
your
a lot
legacy
easier to do
secure.
that
You don't need
podcast
to do
than on
it.
football. You just like you see like look at Jason, look at your brother's life right now. He does Monday Night Football, he does the podcast. He's like the guy does what he wants. He's got a good life. Like you can have that too. And like you said, you're not going to get better at this age. He played a heavy brand of football for all those years, so that's not helping his decline. Maybe hold off a little bit. That's going to help make it more of a steep drop off. I mean, last night you could tell like he was trying to run before he had the ball, and like in his mind, he's trying to make something happen. Season's on the line, blah blah blah. But it's like, dude, you got to secure the ball first. Like that.
Right.
Know that.
I mean, he's the first ballot Hall of Famer, but also like it's over. Like it just kind of is what it is, unfortunately for him. All right, so we got a Cooper DeJean rookie card here, and because I'm curious what the thick boy is here, we're gonna do the slow reveal. I know you love this. I guess it's upside down, so I'll do it.
There you go. Yeah, right around.
I'll do
Sorry,
it.
Cooper.
So we have ourselves
Merry Little Christmas.
A new generation Indianapolis Colts. Is this a Mitchell patch card?
Hey, hold on to it. It's not. It'll have more value later than now, perhaps. But
I mean, he's on my dynasty team in the Mad Dog League. I did trade for him.
I like what they did with Mechie and Mitchell. Like that's actually they should keep those two together because that's just rolls off the tongue. Mechie and Mitchell, like Mitchell and Mechie. I like that. But nonetheless, like they've done a decent job with like trying to bring guys in and get a look and maybe like okay, change of scenery helps his rookie out. Like that. Right. I like that move.
Well, the one thing that does concern me is that I'm thinking along the same wavelength as the Jets, because like when I made that trade for Mitchell, this was right after he dropped that ball running into the end zone. I was like, all right, look, his value is never going to be any lower than it is right now because like they just stopped playing him, they stopped throwing to him. It's like there's clearly some talent there. Like he's a bit of a knucklehead, but there's clearly some talent there. So like I saw that and I made that trade, even though it hasn't really quite paid off yet. I guess the Jets also came to the same conclusion that I came to, which really scares the hell out of me as someone who doesn't want to make a habit of aligning with the Jets on certain decisions. But
yeah, I mean that scares me more than anything because either you're just as good as the Jets GM or you're both wrong. So like it's no win for me essentially.
I mean, I'd probably do a better job as the Jets GM, although like I feel like. But I feel like Muhi's off to a nice start. Like they're clearly going to rebuild. They got all those draft picks that they got at the deadline, and they got some younger players with upside. Like I don't know if Mossy Smith's going to work out for him. I don't know if Mitchell's going to work out for him. But those are like the type of flyers that the Jets should be taking.
So Muji handled the trade deadline very well, very very well. Like that's exactly what the way the Jets should have handled the deadline, and so. Now let's see what happens in the draft this year. I mean, here's the thing about the Jets. They play the Saints down the stretch. That's going to be big for draft positioning. Titans and the Saints play each other. Going to be big for draft positioning. Giants and the Raiders play each other. Big for draft positioning. So, like, on top of the playoff race this year, there's a lot of log-jammed, like, 2-11, 3-10 teams right now. Right. Every week it's going to be like, so.
What surprised me the most, by the way, with you mentioned the Giants in draft position. When I looked yesterday on Tankathon and I saw that the Giants held the number 1 pick due to tiebreaker after the Titans won yesterday, and that tiebreaker is strength of schedule, but it goes from easiest to hardest. And it's like, wait a minute, you're telling me that the Raiders and the Titans have both played harder schedules than the Giants?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you look at the NFC East now with the Commander. I bet the Commanders stinking definitely plummeted the Giants' schedule for sure, because you got
Yeah, I guess so.
so that definitely has hurt them a little bit there. But
I mean, it's not going to hurt them as much as the Giants going 3-1 down the stretch because they're going to win 3 of the last 4 games. Like I'm certain that they're going to beat the Raiders, they're going to beat the Commanders without Jaden Daniels, and they're probably going to beat the Vikings with JJ McCarthy.
That's probably a problem for you guys. Yeah,
They might beat the Cowboys too. I don't think the Cowboys are that good. There's a possibility they could go 4-0.
I'll say they go 2-2. They'll beat the Commanders. No Jaden Daniels. The Vikings, whatever. Say what you want about the Commanders without Jaden Daniels. 31-0, and it's still not a bad. And I know a lot of guys got banged up for the Commanders, so the Giants could lose that game. But yeah, I think they would beat the Raiders on the road, and then we'll see what Dallas is doing at that point. So good packs though.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed that.
A little Adonai Mitchell there. That one could maybe boost in value next year. Now we're going backwards chronologically here. Let's do a little 1996 Upper Deck Silver collection. See what we get out of this guy right here. These are nice foil packs, I gotta say. Like those are like the fancy foil. All right, so we start off with Chargers defensive end Leslie O'Neal. Good looking cards. Let's see.
Nice cards.
Let's see here. We've got a Napoleon Kaufman, Oakland Raiders running back here, getting tackled by an old Seahawk there. Napoleon Kaufman, good running back there for a short period there.
He was, and I know we talk about uniforms a lot on the show. I love that the Raiders look hasn't changed at all over the years. Silver and black. It's just they play the classics and it works for them. I don't see the Raiders being one of these teams that pulls out like the old throwback jerseys, like the Bumblebees or whatnot. Like the Raiders know what works. At least in terms of uniforms. They don't know what works in terms of football, but they know what works in terms of looking good on the field.
And the thing is, their throwback, which is white, but the black and silver numbers are reversed, where they go with the silver numbers with the black trim. To me, are the nicest white jerseys in sports. Like those are. But yeah, the Raiders are like the Yankee pinstripes. Like you could get in a time machine and go 200 years from now, the Raider jerseys are going to look exactly the same. Maybe the helmet shape might be different, but it's still going to be the silver and black. Nothing else. They don't need. Let's see. We got Brian Mitchell, one of the better running backs and return men of the 90s there with the old Washington Redskins look. See here. We got Devin Bush, Falcons player back in the day. Kind of a nobody there.
I will say I like I like when the Commanders look with their uniforms is as close to the old Redskins look as possible.
Yeah, like they should adopt that look with the W. You keep the W, but look like the old jerseys. Like they sometimes again, that was also a look that didn't really need to change. And kind of, I know that Washington changed their look over the years, but like that was one that could have stayed a long time. We got Pete Metzelaars here, Panthers tight end. This pack stinks, by the way. Was also with the Bills during their Super Bowl run. We got if you wanted a 49ers offensive line card, I guess they weren't going to waste time doing one for all 5 guys, so they just do one for the whole line.
Jeez, what year was this?
This is a 96. I'm
going to look up what their offensive line was that year.
And if you want a Leslie O'Neal card, there you go. I got 2 in the same pack. Always love when that happens. We got Bryce Pop here.
I feel like that's lazy. It's just lazy when you get 2 in the same pack. All right, their offensive line that year: Steve Wallace, Ray Brown, Jesse Sapullo, Chris Dahlman, and Harris Barton.
Good offensive line, strong line there.
Well, the Niners were still a pretty good team in the mid-90s. I mean, they did win. They came off the Super Bowl a couple of years earlier when they destroyed the Chargers in that Super Bowl. So
that one was one of the bigger blowouts I've ever watched. Definitely is from when I was a kid, one of the bigger ones. Speaking of the Niners, we got J.J. Stokes. Never really panned out. Former UCLA wide receiver. I love the cards have been terrible. The cards that we've pulled have been terrible, but I do love the look of them. We closed this pack with a season leader card here and kick scoring, Norm Johnson of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's what you wanted there. That's what you want is the season leader card for the scoring leader for the kicker. That's what. Let's see what does it say on the back here. So the leading season leaders were Norm Johnson, Jason Elam, Jason Hanson, Chris Boniel, Steve Christie, Morton Anderson, Fuad Rivaez, Doug Pelfrey, Pete Stoyanovich, Kevin Butler, Eddie Murray, and Al Del Greco. There we go.
Yeah, I can't imagine why Toy was just dying to get rid of these cards.
Yeah, starting to think these are resealed. Open up a pack like that. All right, we're gonna hopefully do a little better here in the 1994 top series 2, and then we're gonna run the board in week 15, chock full, no bye weeks. And this is the last normal week of the NFL season where it's one Thursday, all Sunday, and one Monday. Then the next 2 weeks after that, we get the Saturday games, and I think even week 18 we have a Saturday game. So
Well, I work Saturday afternoons, so I'm actually looking forward to the Saturday afternoon games. Now that college football is winding down.
sometimes yes, sometimes no. Depends if I'm actually at home and able to enjoy it. Now, well, we're gonna have got potential bricking alert here. Oh boy, we'll see how this goes. But this at least appears to be a better pack in terms of quality. I have cards here. Let's see. So our first one, we got the golds here. What do we got here? We got a Michael, I don't know, Barkton. So speaking of offensive linemen, that's a cool shot though. I'll say that.
Yeah, he's certainly about to hit that guy.
Someone's about to get smacked. That almost looks like it'd be Chris Spielman there. Let's see here. Now, this was a Jets throwback look that didn't last long, but definitely enjoyed here. We got Bobby Houston, former linebacker, but look at that the green helmet with the old throwback logo. Like that's cool.
Ooh. Yeah, I could see why it didn't last long.
It's a cool look, but yeah, it's like wear it once or twice kind of thing, and then never need to wear it again.
I like the jerseys more than that particular Jets logo on the green helmet doesn't work for me. It looks better with the white.
I agree. Stay in the AFC East here. We got let's see, Ray Catander with the Patriots. Don't remember him. It's a classic looking cards though, with the like little football on the bottom and the golden like font. Like these are definitely ones I bought a lot of packs of as a kid. Let's see here. We've got a little bit of brooking here, but here's another cool shot, even if it's a nobody. Brian Williams, not the NBC anchor, but the former Giants center.
I mean, he's no Bart Oates.
I mean, is anybody though? I mean, oh no. Let's see here. We got Joel Steed, another cool. No, that one's kind of ruined because of the thing, but nonetheless, cool shots in this Topps 94 series too.
Yeah, the photographer they used for these went above and beyond.
He did his job. He did a good. We've got David Braxton. Yeah, not so far, not a winning pack, but maybe we could close strong. We'll see. Let's see here. Okay, so next up, we got old Houston Oilers card, one of Warren Moon's favorite targets, Haywood Jeffries.
Yeah, and you got that classic Oilers look, which we like to see.
It would be real nice if the Titans would let the Texans just give them the history and let them wear so they can wear these jerseys. Just like everybody made a big deal about the Eagles, Kelly Green, and the Seahawks and the Bucks creamsicles and all that. Houston would probably wear their white and blue once a year, and then the powder blue and white pants. Like, just let them wear it twice a year. We all want it. Fun.
I feel like there's a trade to be made there, where those rights to those jerseys revert back to the Texans, and we can give the Titans something to compensate them for it. I'm not sure what it would be, but
I don't know. I mean, we'll maybe permanently banning Brian Callahan from the building. Like maybe get a restraining order so that he can't come back and team. We got Natrone Means, one of the power backs of the 90s there with the Chargers. All right, we're going to close strong here. We've got three goods. We got a 94 draft pick card here, rookie of Isaac Bruce. All right, so this 94 Series 2 definitely makes up for the end because we got a couple more coming there. But look at that bad boy. Not bad, Isaac Bruce. I believe a Hall of Famer, right?
I think
he just got in.
I mean, if he hasn't gotten in yet, it's embarrassing, but I thought he got in a few years ago. Let me take a quick look.
Now, next up.
Yeah, Bruce got in 2020. So, yeah, he got in 5 years ago.
Now we have a Tools of the Game Emmitt Smith card here. So,
just to give you an idea, like Isaac Bruce was one of those guys I would book every year when he would be on the Hall of Fame finalist. And obviously, I stopped doing that when I stopped working at Sirius XM. But like, couldn't remember if he actually got in or not. I think because I keep mixing him up with Torrey Holt, who still isn't in.
Him and Bruce, like, listen, the greatest show on turf. Those two guys, man, they knew how to stretch a field and go deep and just be reliable targets for Kurt Warner. And then we actually are going to close the pack very strong here because I don't know what the like how much of these exist, but we got like a Jim Kelly like holographic parallel there. I don't know. You can kind of see it there. So that one for a 94 tops, that's a good card. Like I got to get that in a penny sleeve right now and top immediately. That one might actually have some value. I'll have to look that one up. When I say value, I mean a few bucks for a first card. I'm not talking crazy.
That's a much nicer Jim Kelly card than the one I have, which is of him wearing a Buffalo Sabres jersey, dropping the puck for a ceremonial face-off.
I kind of want to see that one now.
I have that one. Yeah, I'd have to go looking for it. I don't have it.
Is he wearing the?
He's wearing a Sabres jersey,
blue and yellow, or the black and red?
The blue and yellow.
Yeah, it was a little before. Yeah, he was a little before they switched to what's Sluggo they call it, or I don't know. The
Buffalo Slug.
Yeah, there we go.
Which, by the way, underrated jersey.
I wish they would do that, but with the blue and yellow colors. To me, now you got it perfect. That's how you do it.
Yeah, I feel like every Sabres logo except for their primary one is actually pretty good. I don't love the traditional one that they use, but like I feel like every other one they use is pretty good.
I like that one. I don't like the one like from the Chris Drury era where it's like the shooting star / Saberhead. Like, yeah, I don't
even remember that one.
The ones that they wore back in like the Brian Miller era. I might be able to pull them up here, but we got to do. I'll go pull those up, but we got to start. We got to get over to our picks for this week. It's week 15. It's a full week of picks here. So there we go. I'm gonna pull first. I'm gonna pull up the jersey so you can see. Let's see here. You'll remember when you see him. You probably forgot about him. There we go.
I forget lots of things.
Remember those?
Yeah, the Buffalo Slug.
No, I'm talking about the one. I thought the Slug was the one that like from the Dominic Hasek era.
No, that's like the Buffalo Head logo that they.
Yeah, that's the one I like. This one I don't like.
No, I like this one.
Oh, this one is the least favorite of the three.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the logo there. I don't care for the B with the saber through it on the shoulders, but I will say that particular jersey looks like a warm-up jersey or a practice jersey.
Yeah, that's like a warm-up, but just to give you an idea of what the logo like back in that era in the mid 2000s or aughts, as they say.
I'm gonna see if I can get a Buffalo Slug hat on eBay.
I'm sure you can, or Fanatics probably has it or something like that. But going back here, let's talk a little week 15 in the National Football League. As always, we each pick 3 picks to throw out there with the early lines for the week. I'm going to run through the board here, and then we can go back and review. We've got about 15 minutes here to break it all
I was
down.
going to say, how did we do last week? Because I don't even remember.
Last week, how did we do? Let me pull that up on the old doc. In week 14, you went 2-1. I went 2-1. Thanks to the backdoor cover by the Raiders, kicking that meaningless field goal.
Nice. Always nice to sneak in the back door.
Yes. Yeah, in certain contexts, yes. So now we go to week 15 in the National Football League, and this was a game we all looked at the beginning of the year, like, oh, this is going to be for the NFC South. Falcons, Bucks, week 15, Thursday night. Well, the Bucks are going to need it for the division. Maybe not so much the Falcons here. Bucks 5.5-point favorites. 6 at a couple of spots. Total 44.5, even 43.5 for FanDuel. Cardinals at the Texans here. Texans 7-point favorites. Total about 42.5, 45.5 at Caesar. So if you like that under, go and get it right now. Raiders, Eagles in Philly. Eagles 12.5-point home favorites. Total 39.5 or 40. Jets, Jaguars 9 to 9.5-point favorites. Total there is 42.5.
You might want to look in some other markets because in DraftKings that one's up to 12.5.
For which one?
For Jaguars, Jets.
I have a site open that has them open across the board. I guess they have not updated that because they have like Caesars, BetMGM, all that. But wow, yeah, that's got moved up real quick.
They also had the what was that first game you mentioned? The Cardinals Texans one. They had the total. DraftKings has the total for that one at 42.5 now, so that one's already been bet down.
All right, so I'm just going to roll off the DraftKings board here the rest of the way to make life nice and easy. Trying to do something different for. We got the Bears 7.5-point home favorites, total 40.5. Bills 1.5 point road favorites in New England, total 50.5. Ravens 1.5 road favorites in Cincy, total 52.5. Giants 2.5 point home favorites against the Commanders, total 47.5. Chiefs 4.5 point home favorites to the Chargers, 43.5 the total there. Going into the late slate here, Titans both networks have double headers this week, so everything, no 405s, everything's 425. Niners 12.5 point home favorites to the Titans, total 44.5. Seahawks 11.5 point home favorites to the Colts, total 42.5. We got the Panthers 3 point road favorites in New Orleans, total 40.5. Packers 1.5 road favorites in Denver, total 43.5. Lions, Rams 5.5 point favorites at home, total 55.5. Oh boy. And then we got the Cowboys 6 point home favorites, total 48.5 to the Vikings on Sunday Night Football. And then on Monday night, the Steelers are 3 point home favorites, total 42.5. So now that we have gone through the board here, what's jumping out at you first? What's that? Something you like, dislike? What do we got?
Well, this is going to be in one of my plays. I'd be fraudulent if I said the entire time that I thought they were going to win these games and then I didn't go and pick them. I'm going to lay the 2.5 with the Giants against the Commanders. I feel like I'm not convinced that the Giants aren't a better team right now, and that's with the Giants losing all these games in a row. And I'm not convinced that the Giants aren't going to win some football games down the stretch to screw up what could be the number one pick in the draft, even though they don't need the number one pick in the draft because they have their quarterback. But like, you still want to get it because you want to be able to trade down and control the draft board and do all that sort of stuff. So now that I feel like the Giants have destiny in their hands, they're going to find a way to screw it up. And there's no better way of screwing it up than beating Marcus Mariota and the Washington Commanders at MetLife Stadium in front of about 20,000 people in the middle of December.
That are going to be pissed that you're winning the game at that point.
I mean, I'm not going to that. You wouldn't catch me dead there. And I love the Meadowlands as much as anyone else, but like, I got better things to do with my time than go to MetLife Stadium in the middle of December to watch that dreadful game.
I'll say this, and I know I haven't lived in New York in a long time. I used to like to go to the Meadowlands, but MetLife Stadium is not the same experience a Giant Stadium was. I'm sorry, like
it's not. No, but like
it lost all of its luster, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the complaint is it's a little too I guess sterile for lack of a better term, but like I don't know. I feel like it's a fine venue to go see like game. The weird thing about the stadium is it just looks weird. It looks like weird from the outside.
It looks like the razor blade that like Zeus uses. That's what it looks like from the outside.
Yes,
like he just does it up. It's done.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you make a dual-use stadium for two teams, and you try to make it neutral so you could just quickly switch, like all the, I guess, the aesthetics and everything inside for whoever the home team is that particular week, and that's sort of what happens. But like, I don't know, it's a stadium that just there's not a lot of personality there. I mean, look at I mean, the Rams and the Chargers have a dual-use stadium in LA, and like that stadium looks a hell of a lot nicer than MetLife.
And like it helps that their team colors are similar, but like because they're both blue and yellow, two very different shades of blue and yellow, but nonetheless still in the same family. But
it also helps that stadium's in Southern California, and like you could have like the open air and like.
I've been to that stadium. I saw Metallica there. Like, it's first of all, it's built down into the ground because they couldn't go high because LAX.
The airport is right by.
So, like it's own cool, unique experience. Kind of like it almost feels like you're going down into a coliseum almost, and it's got that roof, but it's not totally enclosed. Like it's like the stadium has character. Like it's like I'm doing something cool today. Like when you go to MetLife Stadium, it's like I'm sitting in this gray, septic, no personality. Oh, because the lights go green for Jets games and blue for Giants games. That's your charm. Like, anyway.
I also don't like that all the seats at MetLife use like different shades of gray. I guess they went with that for to make it look like the stadium's always full, like even if there's like patches of empty seats, but it just looks weird when the stadium's empty.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna make my first pick here, and I'm gonna take the Packers to cover 1.5 on the road in Denver. All we keep saying is like Denver's, not to say fraudulent, but they're a very inflated 11-2 team right now. So I think Green Bay kind of plays up and down to their opponents, and obviously Denver is going to be one of the better teams they have to play down the stretch here. Got a little momentum here. I think they can go into Denver and they'll win by 2 points. I think they're going to win the game, but I think they can cover the 2. I'm okay with that. Denver, if they can beat Green Bay at home, okay, now maybe that relaxes some of the, okay, who is Denver really beating? They're there. They always get last second victories. They're kind of like the Commanders of last year, where they're getting like a lot of bounces go their way. Like, look at every game. It's either a late field goal or this or that or the other thing. So I think the Packers cover.
Nice. I think that's a good pick. I like that one. I'm going to go in a different direction now. Not that I disagree with your pick. I just don't want to necessarily double up here. I'm going to take the Patriots over the Bills. I say that they find a way to beat them again. So like, I'm not even going to take the 1.5. I'm just going to take the Pats on the money line -105. Like the game's in Foxborough. The Patriots are coming off a bye. They're playing as well as anybody. I still don't completely trust the Bills, even though they've picked up some wins of late. And I feel like the Patriots. I mean, this is going to be where the Patriots wind up winning the AFC East here. They're going to win this game, and they're going to, probably wind up being the 1 seed in the AFC. And you give them an extra week to prepare. Like, I feel like they're going to, be in pretty good shape there against their division rivals, who, like I've said, they've already beaten this year.
And listen, I know Buffalo, they went out and they get some strategic losses from New England. It's not happening. New England's got the Jets on the schedule. They've got the Dolphins on the schedule. They got a Ravens team that can't figure it out. So even if Buffalo goes in and wins this week, it's still going to be the Patriots taking the division. And I think if this game meant more in that context, I would be more okay with Buffalo. I think Buffalo's going to win, but I would feel more confident about that if the game meant more, because they're pretty much the same way whoever finishes second in the NFC West is going to be the 5 seed in the NFC. I think, the Bills are not quite locked into the 5 seed, but that's probably where they're going to end up. And I don't, unless they do have to worry about the Texans on their tail with the head-to-head tiebreaker and things like that. But overall, I think that, I'm staying away from that game, although I do think the Bills could win. So let's see what my next pick is going to be here. Call me crazy. I'm going to take the Panthers to cover the 3 on the road at the Saints. They're coming off the bye. They feel like they owe them one after the Saints beat them in their building a couple weeks ago, where the Panthers looked pitiful. Saints are coming off a road victory against Tampa Bay. I don't see the Saints winning 2 games in a row. Carolina now with Tampa Bay losing yesterday, I think that motivates them even more. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for the Saints. I'm not saying they blow the doors off of them, but I think they can win by 4 points here. So I'll take the Saints to cover 3.
I see where your logic is. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Take the Panthers to cover 3. Sorry.
No, I know what you were trying to say. So, no, I think that makes a lot of sense there. All right, my last pick. I feel like we say this every week about this team, but it goes double this week. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen this week. Like, I'm going to lay the 1.5 with the Ravens on the road in Cincinnati. Okay. That's a tough loss yesterday, but like the Ravens could have very easily have won that game had like that ruling gone their way with the Isaiah Likely touchdown catch that wasn't there at the end there. Like, if that goes their way, maybe they wind up winning that game. And I just feel like I trust them more in this certain spot than a Bengals team that, suffered another tough loss and is playing out the stretch late in the season. I know the game's in Cincinnati, but I think you're going to see a little bit of desperation on Baltimore's part. And, when in doubt, I like going with the team that's a little more desperate. So I'll it's only a 1.5. It's not like I'm laying like 4 or 5 or whatever. It's, I think the Ravens could win by a field goal here. So I will gladly lay the 1.5 there with Baltimore.
I was playing around with possible scenarios with like wins and losses down the stretch. We could have a scenario where an 8-9 Ravens team could win the 4 seed and the division in the AFC, if depending upon how things go, and they got to get it done this week. So they're not dead yet. The Bengals are dead. Burrow said in his post-game press conference yesterday, like, hey, we're still going to play. I don't know if they knew they were officially out at that point or not, but like, he's like, my approach is to play every week like we're still in it. So I think the Ravens win. I think that makes me a little nervous, but yeah, I think Baltimore, they need to get back. And like you said, Isaiah Likely, if that's ruled a touchdown, we are talking, the Ravens are being viewed much differently. Probably saying that stuff about the Steelers. So you got the Giants -2.5 at home against the Commanders. Patriots on the money line -105. Ravens -1.5. in Cincinnati. I've got the Packers -1.5 in Denver, Panthers -3 in New Orleans. So I've got a couple of road favorites there. I don't love this week. There's a lot of big, like the Seahawks to cover an 11.5. Like
That's too much. I'm not doing that.
And like the Colts might, I don't trust the Colts through Jonathan Taylor enough to maybe take the points there. I mean, Riley Leonard, I can't do that. Titans, that's a big number, 12.5. Even the Texans with the Cardinals, because sometimes the Cardinals keep it close. I'm kind of tempted to go that game. I could see being a blowout and just getting out of hand. But even with the Texans defense being as good as it, I really don't know where to go for a last pick here. Like there were weeks where it's like I have a few and I got to decide between. For my last pick, I'm a little stumbled. You know what? Give me the Lions +5.5 against the Rams. I don't think they win the game, but it's indoors. Jared Goff, much different quarterback inside than outside. I think the Rams win, but I think this is going to be maybe not a who has the ball last kind of win thing, but I could see them losing. Even whether it's a high-scoring affair or low-scoring affair, I could see the Lions getting it within 4. I could see like a 24-20 or like a 48-44 if it goes that crazy kind of scenario. So, yeah, I think they can keep it within 5.5.
I like it. Let's go.
There we go. Let's go. All right. So we're going into week 15 here. There's our 3 picks there. Now, let's do a quick pulls of the day. I mean, for me, it's going to be easy here. It's going to be Jim Kelly, hologram or refractor, parallel, whatever we're calling it. Nonetheless, very excited about this one. Shout out to my buddy Pete, big Bills fan. Maybe I'll send that to him. We'll see. But that one I kind of like. I watched a lot of Jim Kelly as a kid, torched the Jets on Sunday afternoon. So I like Kelly. He's a good quarterback.
Yep. And I'll go with the Adonai Mitchell the patch here, even though it says in the back that this enclosed authentic memorabilia is not from any specific game or event. So they probably just grabbed like a jersey, any old jersey that was just sitting around the team store that hadn't sold, and probably just cut that up and threw it in there.
I wonder if I'm curious if those packs came out before or after the whole fiasco where people figured that out, and then they're just saying on there that it may or may not. Because remember, like people started opening up their game patch jerseys to see if like, oh, this was actually from the player or not. There was that whole trend for a little while, so maybe like they started printing that after the fact.
I'm sure they don't want to get sued, so yeah, probably a smart move putting some sort of disclaimer on there.
There we go. So that's going to do it for this episode of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel. Of course, though, allaboutthejersey.com. What's the next article coming up there, Jared?
I'm grading every signing that Tom Fitzgerald has done as general manager. Right. Previously, we did trades. Now we're doing signings.
All right, I like it. So it's a nice 2-parter there. That's really dives. How do we feel about the Devils going into Christmas break? I know the Metropolitan's wacky because it's like there's only a few points separating the top from the bottom, but overall.
I'm going to quote the great Jim Murray here. I just want to win a game at this point. They've lost 5 in a row. It's like, yeah, you had a bad week, but now it doesn't get any easier. You got to get on the right track and win a game. So go win a game tomorrow. And I think they're in Ottawa tomorrow. So go win a game.
It's a good spot, get right spot against the Senators. It'll be a tough game nonetheless. Also, you can find all of Jared's great poker work at Jared More Poker on YouTube. For myself, you can find Total Hockey Now on Thursdays with myself at FuzzyChris91 and at NRivera86. Also, hockey picks over at WizardSportsPicks.com. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be with you next week on an all-new episode of Rip N Riff on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel.